Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders. Hope you guys are doing all fantastic. Got you guys piling into the room. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. We got Al in the house. Good morning to you. We got Bill, Brian. We got Brian Reppel. Good morning. D's in the house. Good morning to Eric Fabrice. Frank. Good morning to George J. Josh. We got Lauren. Lucian rocking with us. So is Rick G. J. Good morning to you. We got Rock Fullwood. Wally. Good morning to you. We've got Richard Jet out in YouTube land and all the other lurkers out there in YouTube. That's okay. I still love you. Just hit that like and subscribe button and let's go. Let's see what's happening with this market today. So I didn't really see too much on the news front of things, but to be honest, I don't even know why. I don't even know why, but for some reason my kids got virtual school today because it rained a little yesterday, I guess. Not raining today, but so I had to get them set up for for virtual school today. And yeah, that's a crazy world because when I was doing second grade, I didn't even have a computer. I don't think anybody did. So we've come a long way. We've come a long way. But SPY, a little bit of a gap down here, and we should have a pretty good resistance now above us. I mean, look at our first spot, somewhere around 473, 79. Next spot after that, probably right into that 473.97 zone. So about 20 cents of roughly about 20 cents of resistance somewhere in that area. Still an inside day. Let's talk about yesterday for a second. 2 days ago, strong breakout. We look at the close, some not quite a gap, but a little bit of open area. We did that. We got into that previous resistance, and we just had another inside day. Yesterday, we gapped down, right? So that's a little bit more like bearish, but the question is it? Right? That was also about 50% retracement of yesterday's candle. Not bad. Not bad. And then we do rally instead of breaking down. So I think this is the low of yesterday. If we start breaking that down, I think we have a little bit of trouble on our hands, even though this is an inside day. That would be my first warning sign. If we start to break down yesterday's candle, because that was about a 50% retrace of that big move from yesterday, the bulls came in where they should. We retested strong. We look good. And I think we start to give that up. Now we're looking at lower levels, probably retesting back to like 468, 69. We have this 20 EMA in line here as well. But I think if we start to break down I think obviously if we start breaking down that candle from 2 days ago, that's the real sign. But I think that's your early warning sign. So I don't want to see us break yesterday's candle. I think that would lead to testing some of these lower lows, and I think that would start to leave this little. And this is why I say I think that's even though it's an inside day, and we're still not really breaking out one way or the other. If we break down from yesterday, we're not breaking out that candle from 2 days ago, which is the more important one. But if we start getting back down to here, that's going to leave an ugly looking double top close to all-time highs. We have at least some type of a feel of like a low or high. And I think that would shoot some of the confidence out of the market. So watch the lows from yesterday. Otherwise, I'm going to still remain bullish, but I do have a little bit of a challenge going bullish with that resistance right there as well. It's going to be tough for me. But I still want to remain a little bit bullish until we break down. And we haven't done that yet. And we have a big day tomorrow. We got a big day Friday. We got CPI tomorrow. We've got was it PPI on Friday? So could we end up with maybe another inside day here? I think so. I think so. So that's where I'm kind of leaning. I think we could probably get that tight range again to the we do have good resistance. I think the bulls have to come in and support that. We have a big day of information tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, and I think it would be a little range bound. And since we're at the resistance, I think we want to probably head a little bit short at open. I don't think it's gonna be a wide range, but probably some extent. I think we might come down, then come up and stay in this range. But I think since we're so high into that resistance for right now, until it proves me wrong, so until we start breaking out and start breaking that little force, what was it, 470, 69, I think it was. So whatever those VPOCs are, then I'm like, okay, the Bulls have it. They don't care about those numbers yet tomorrow, and they're buying into it. They feel those numbers are good. Until that happens, I probably would be looking a little bit more short than long. And the good news is we're not too far away from that VPOC, so we don't have to wait too long to be proven wrong and then almost instantly switch positions. The Qs, QQQ, a little bit stronger than yesterday or than 2 days ago. Pre-market with a little bit of a gap down, nothing too crazy, but we are down by roughly 10 was that 12 cents? Roughly 12 cents. So still inside yesterday's candle. I do like the progression on that VPOC a lot. We still have this open target up here, and I would have to go more bullish on the Qs. Could have pulled back first, sure. And I think if the SPY runs into that little wall and pulls back, look for the Qs to bounce somewhere around. So I'm going to call it downside for me somewhere around 404.65. But you did make higher lows. I do think dips will be bought on Qs, and I think if we could get a break today, maybe we do, maybe we don't, and maybe the CPI worry or wait and see attitude is a little bit much. I'm looking for levels up to on the high of things back to 409.46. We haven't got there yet. And then, so let's see if we could sell a little bit at open and get to that 404.65. Can we look at Coinbase? Yes, we definitely can look at the Coinbase. Coinbase is going to be a weird one. We got TLT just inside day, so not a lot of information that we could pull out of that one. So Coinbase. Obviously, it's going to move a little bit like Bitcoin. Yesterday, there was a little bit of a hack job. So somebody, I don't know who it was, somehow hacked into the SEC Twitter account and just Twitter, aka X, whatever you guys want to call it. But they put out the Bitcoin ETF will be approved. Obviously, that's the big news in crypto space that everybody is looking for that approval. And we actually had a decent run going bullish. But about 15 minutes after that tweet came out, the actual SEC put out an actual statement or tweet saying that wasn't us. Ignore it. That's not information. So very, very interesting there. But in a weird way, and if we're looking at probably the after hours, is going a little crazy on Coinbase. In a weird way, we kind of got an early vision, even though like none of that was real news. We had a good early indication as to what might happen if that ETF gets approved. Right. So initial reaction, we get approved. We're going to run it up, and then they did sell off right away. And I think that might drive a little fear of like, okay, well, what happens now if we actually do get approved? Why don't we just take some gains now? So I think you have a little bit more fear. Keep in mind that the SEC was hacked, so none of that is real news that the ETF is approved yet. If we're looking at technicals though, technically this is going to be some kind of a retest gap. I don't know how any of this is going to play out today in terms of if the technical holds. It's not too many times I could look back in history and look at the SEC Twitter accounts being hacked. I mean, there's very few situations where those stars line. But so this was already retested once. This is a breakable zone at 146.04. This is now like the third time, but that should be a good resistance. We're very close to it, so maybe come down a little bit more. Probably play that retest gap. I think bullish today. Maybe I don't even want to say longer term. I mean, usually, normally what I would do on this one is I would be looking at this, right? So I'm looking at some kind of support here. Great. We're very close to it pre-market. I think your risk reward, at least on a day trade basis, is probably a little bit more bullish than bearish, right? Because we can come all the way back up here, but maybe we do find that support here. And until we break that support to go short, that's how I'd play that. Otherwise, in a longer term picture, I'm looking for some kind of retrace today. And then on a normal technical basis, I think this is still weakness in the market. This is just people taking some profit from this day and this day. And then I think eventually we start to roll over from here and come back down. This one's going to be a little bit different in terms of swing trades because we are based. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen actually when that news comes out. I don't think the market does. And they're just looking at that fake SEC tweet and they're like, okay, maybe this is what happens. So there's still going to be news involved in this one. And that's going to change it from more of a technical and sentiment trade to we'll see what happens on the news. And it could be the same thing, but that's typically how I would play that. So but yeah, I would actually be looking a little bit more bullish to buy fade that dip a little bit. Still above a very good support. All right, we got Shopify. I think there was Z in there as well, and then I see all my peoples in the YouTube land with a lot of tickers as well. Shopify, really, really good gap. I don't know if I want to be the first one on this one. I'll be looking for a little retest. I'm not the best. I'm not the best gap up trader of all times. Like gap up into new all time high. Like admittedly so. I wish I was better. I'm a levels trader, and I like to know where my levels are at. And I feel like once we get these gap ups, we're in the we're just gone. That's it. So this is at least not all time highs, which is good. But you do have this gap up, clearing a major resistance. I hate the fact that we got 1, 2, 3, 4 days of bullishness into it. Yesterday was also a pretty good bullish candle with some good volume. So my thought process is I wouldn't like to short it. I would stay away from the short side of things. I would like to find a spot to go long on it. And then my question becomes where? The first spot I would look would have to be probably towards 79.77. Second spot I would look at is 79.02. We're in a low volume liquidity area here. Targets on this one probably could get us into, especially with a gap like this. I mean, do we have another $5 in this? I don't know after that 4 days of green in a row, but so targets would be a little concern for me. Otherwise, a really good gap. Really strong gap. I just hate how everybody's profitable into it. Probably see if we get that little pullback first. Let's see. We got Z that came in. We got Abiva. We got SoFi. So Zillow Group, a little bit of a gap down. I think this is a buy the dip opportunity. I'm not saying for the long term. I'm not saying for like long term accounts. I'm not saying for swing trades. I'm saying for day trades. I think this would be a little something I would be looking at just on a pure risk to reward play. Right, we're still above the daily 20. We got one more spot. I don't know if I'd be the first one in. I try to catch this thing a little bit lower. First spot I would look for is like a 54.20, and then I don't want to buy the dip for me personally if we hit 53.69, which is the retest from here. But now you've also breaking through a pretty key candle. As long as we stay in that candle, so stop somewhere around like 53.97 ish. I think we can get a pretty good trade off of it, but it's still very kind of tight range. It is a gap and go, bearish gap and go, but you're still inside that candle. With the bulls have to hold. You do also have a 3-bar reversal on this one as well. So, even as a swing trade, it's probably playable, right? On again, just risk reward basis. But you have this candle opens here. We got to close up here, and then we got all of this action here. So essentially, we got a hammer. If that breaks, yeah, we're coming down definitely to fill this gap, but I would assume a lot more. So see if this thing wants to break out bullish. We've still got probably some room to the bullish side of things, and I think the market tries to buy this one up. But at open, I'd sit back for a couple minutes, see if we get a little bit further down, get a better buy spot on this thing. All right, let me take a look at ABBV. Abiva, you guys got tickers flying in today. Flying in. I love it. This is a really good gap here as well. I'm looking for like 163.85 would be probably the last attempt the Bears have to keep this thing down. So somewhere in that 180, I got like 180. I don't know. It's yeah, 164.55, maybe something like that. Could be targets for today. It is a pretty good gap. We've been beaten up here before in terms of like not able to break out, and the Bears have been pushing back. But we have a good, decent amount of consolidation on this thing. You got one, two, three, four. That one was technically down a little bit, but good consolidation, and we are also opening above everything. So again, I don't know what the level is here that these Bears are kind of pushing down on. Maybe we have a little bit of resistance, but we sure as heck hung out here for a while after decent, decent push. With this one though, be careful. I mean, you're still inside day, so that's going to take away some edge. I just love the fact that we are gapping, or at least opening above yesterday's VPOC. So it might not be today that this thing breaks. We might have to wait for CPI, but it kind of does look decent. I think we have room up into this probably 164.11. And then after we start to break out of like this general zone, and I was going back and forth with a couple prices, but if we start getting above all of that, like especially like this 163.30 ish to 163.80 zone, I think she gone. She gone. She got nothing in the way. We shall see. SoFi. Let's take a look at that one. And then I got Toast, OKTA, Okta. SoFi just hanging out. It just all these small guys, they need something that's going to light their fires, to start the engines. They need something to get going. And I do know what that one thing is. You guys want me to tell you? It is CPI, it is PPI, it is Jerome Powell. We need to keep the market thinking that those rates are coming down. If we think those rates are starting to come down, this is a stock that will react. It reacted before, it will react again. It's a technology company. It needs to borrow money. It needs to borrow money at low rates. It needs to refinance current loans at low rates. The fire starter on this one will be it's either going to be directly CPI or the combination of CPI, PPI, because that's going to give us some more information as to what we think Jerome Powell is going to do. And we'll see. But it's pulled back decent enough, just kind of hanging out for right now. Nothing too crazy for today. Inside day, we got a decent amount of resistance above us. This is 841, and I got some more spots somewhere up here at about 840 or 852, somewhere in that zone. From a daily perspective, we are just kind of hanging out at that moving average. I would look at this thing as a little bit more bear flag, but we'll see where this thing wants to break. Right. So I wouldn't get necessarily bullish yet. Right. There's your flag. There's your flag pole. I could even make a case that it goes up to here. So really support should be down here somewhere. See if we get it on the under $8 would be a decent buy spot, I think. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We need that. We need that. It's a stock filled gasoline, and it just needs that little spark. You guys want some VA as well, so we'll take a look at that too. I should have time. Toast. This I think is a gap that fades lower. Goldman Sachs upgrades it to $24 to buy from neutral. I'm looking at this big, heavy volume area right in front of us that we're about to open in front of. This is which is roughly about $20.06. That's also a very good previous support. That should be our resistance for now. I like this one, and you got 1, 2, 3, 4 green candles in a row. To me, this one looks like a decent fade lower. See if it comes back down. Maybe get a. Yeah, I don't see too much in the way to the downside. I see one little zone here you're gonna fight with. This is 1963, but past that, I think we're looking for a retest back to like 1898. But that to me does look like it fades a little. Let's see, do we check out Octa yet? Octa, not too much. Still just kind of inside day candle. So, yep, just hanging out. This looks like the Ricky Cat and Cannon a little bit. So good downtrend. This is almost essentially a bear flag. Good reversal hammer. Watch. I mean, for a swing trade, I would say watch the breakdown of yesterday's candle on this one. It's a nice little invert hammer. Doesn't mean we don't just go up higher, and targets to the higher side if we do would be about 86.91. But if that candle starts to break down and you start to really break, I would say more or less this. That looks dangerous. That looks like we got more side. This looks a little bear flagish as well. But for right now, we are gapping up above those little VPOCs. We've got really nothing to stop us into this 87 zone, 86.91 ish. So yeah, looks decent. But for today, a day trade at least inside day, takes away a little bit of edge. Boeing, did they tighten the screws yet? We got any planes that are just actually holding up? We went a whole night. No planes fell out of the sky. That's good. That's just positive right there. That's enough. That's enough with for investor sentiment right there. Um, big high wave candle yesterday. Nice bounce off of some kind of daily moving average, which I believe is the 100 on a simple. You do have this wide open gap. I don't, because it's a high wave. I mean, essentially the play is if we get the break here, 228.97, we probably look to go bullish from there. And then if we break down here, 223.20, that would be a bearish play. A lot of times once you have these high wave candles, and not always, but a lot of times, you kind of put in a bunch more candles inside, build the pressure, and then you break. So for a day trade, because it's such a big indecision, I mean, that's a pretty clear indecision candle. I do think this one fades back down. You're gonna look at like 225.70, some kind of support, but I think there's gonna be better stocks to trade until you get a break of that candle from yesterday. Quite honestly. RJF. RJF. Raymond James Financial. This is an interesting looking gap. Um, Definitely a gap and go. Looks decent. I've never traded it. I know what Raymond James Financial is, but I just never traded the stock. I don't own any of the stock. So I don't know how this one moves, but we are at a little bit of resistance here. Volume might be a little bit low on this company. We'd have to see. Um, do they have news? Was there an upgrade? JP Morgan upgrades Raymond James Finance. How much does JP Morgan have invested into Raymond James is the question. Overweight from neutral, raise the price to 135 from 110. That's a decent raise. Pretty decent raise. I'd want to say that this thing pulls back first, and then you have your opportunity to look long because you do have a little bit of resistance up there. Had we got a little bit more of a gap into like 114.47, I think at that point you're just on fire, just nonstop bullish. But I think we dance around a little bit, see if this thing for me wants to come back to like 112.18, and then maybe that's your opportunity there. Lucian says, FYI, 10-year bond auction at 1:01 p.m. Eastern. So we got the 10-year bond auction going off today. We got Etsy on the list. That's a decent looking breakdown. Again, this is a retest gap from yesterday, but I'd want to play that almost a gap and go from that Yeah, I like this one short. I want to call this a gap and go from here. First target. This is where this thing gets a little tricky. 74.83 is first target. I'm not going to make that much money. If I think we could break it, and we might have a good shot here, but because then we kind of retested it there, maybe we're even down in this zone already. This should have been a 3-bar reversal with an inside hangout candle, and we continue up higher. So the fact that none of that is happening, I think we could probably get down to 72.64, and then we got some. Okay, if we're gonna short something, and I do think the market's a little bit high at open, or at least was. So I'm looking for a little pullback on the market, and this might be a decent short. I'm gonna throw this one high on the list. I already put it on my other chart. Jenny says I was waiting for a CPI. She's like, this market did not react at all to that CPI. MSFT. Microsoft. In a weird way, I think Microsoft is going to go absolutely crazy today. I don't know why. Just looking at this chart. Just had two really good days the other day. Technically, I think we pulled back a little bit here. That would make sense. We're at a big resistance. Watch for this one a little later in the day. I don't know why, but this one I think if we break out of this 376.35 zone, probably a little bit higher than that, a couple pennies higher. I think Microsoft is due for a crazy day. I'm actually gonna hold this one on my list as well. Pretty high up there. Again at open, I don't know, maybe a little back and forth, but if I see any high wave candles, something like that, that is just really good consolidation. It doesn't mean it has to break. Maybe we do wait for these stupid reports that come out and yada yada yada. But I don't know. They're setting up pretty decent. Nvidia. Nothing else to say on this one except for continuation. I don't know where this one goes to. It's proven every bear wrong forever. So I think some bears made money for like an hour one day. That was crazy. Well, you're already gapping above yesterday's VPOC. I think we get continuation, probably a little Chopzilla in the beginning, and yeah, I'd still only look bullish until we get a reason. But Jeff Helms says I played Nvidia pullback yesterday afternoon, more on instinct than anything, and took profit way too soon. Curious how I should play it. How I should have played it. I'll tell you what, Jeff. Give me, because the market's about to open. Give me like an hour into the market, and just remind me of that message, because I do want to go and look at it, because I love doing it. I love looking at those candles. But at open, I'd still probably remain a little bit more neutral to the bullish side on Nvidia for today. And yeah, because the market will probably slow down again, maybe in about an hour. So we could go candle by candle, but it's like 2 seconds, only 2 seconds, 1 second, ding ding ding. That morning bell, you guys in YouTube land, you guys are absolutely incredible. Man, I don't want you guys to go. Like it's look at this void that you guys aren't there anymore. But unfortunately, I gotta disconnect. You guys are incredible. Stay safe, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. By the way, we do have the beginner course still going on. So if you guys want to attend it, there's still time. We got tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern. It is. I'll give you guys the freemium. It's 100% off for you guys. Don't tell anyone. And link should be on the Real Life Trading website. You guys are incredible.